Every year in the cold darkness between stars, the blood hunters gathered. They were not soldiers, they were not assassins, they were something worse. They were hunters, and not just any hunters, the best in the galaxy. They hunted the rarest, strongest. Prey, monsters, warlords, beasts from cursed planets. They never failed, they never showed mercy. And every year, they chose one new target. A name would appear on the red screen in their ship's dark hall. One prey, one hunt, one trophy. This year, the name appeared slowly, almost like the system was unsure. The hunters stood around, waiting. Some laughed. Some sharpened their weapons. Then the name appeared in red. Daniel Reeve species, human location Earth. At first, they said nothing. Then one hunter laughed. A human, that's the prey this year. Is this a joke? Another asked. Their leader, Varn, stepped forward. He had hunted for 200 years. His body was half metal, half scars. He looked at the name, then at the screen behind it. There was no data. No military record, no birth file, no combat score, just a simple image of a man sitting on a bench, smiling. No record, Varn growled. The AI voice replied, Subject Daniel Reeve, no known weakness, location Earth, status active. Why this human? Varn asked. The AI hesitated. Because he was requested. That made the room go quiet. No. One requested the prey. Ever only the AI based on power, threat, and challenge, but this time, someone had. Who requested him? Varn demanded. Unknown. Now the laughter was gone. Varn looked at his team. 7 hunters. Each had ended. Wars alone. Each had never lost. This will be fast, said Cray, the tracker. We take him, tag him, end him. Maybe he's just lucky, said Jorek, the blade expert. No, Varn said coldly. He was chosen. He stared at the smiling photo again. No past. No scars, no fear. He touched the screen, zoomed in on Daniel's eyes and paused. There was something wrong with that smile. Too calm. Too still. Like he was waiting. The ship jumped to Earth in 2 hours. They didn't land loud. They never did. No. One saw them. No one ever did. They found the location easily, an old cabin near the woods, far from any city. Heat scans showed one man inside, sitting. No movement, no defense systems, no traps, just Daniel Reeve. The hunters moved in. Jorek led the way, blade ready. No need for guns, no need for armor. This would be easy. He kicked the door open and froze. Daniel was sitting at a wooden table, drinking tea. He looked up and smiled. Hello, he said. No fear. No surprise, just hello. Jorek raised his blade. Daniel didn't move. Then the lights flickered. Once, twice, gone. Complete darkness. Jorek activated his night vision. The room was empty. Daniel was gone. Where is he? Jorek whispered into his comm. No. Answer team, report. Nothing. He turned behind him, just a shadow, too tall, too still, too human, and then silence. Outside, Varn checked his wrist screen. Signal lost, Jorek. He narrowed his eyes. Still no alarms. No gunfire. No screams, just gone. Deploy thermal sweep, he ordered. They scanned the cabin. Only one heat source now, and it was moving, not away from them, toward them. Daniel Reeve stepped out of the woods. Calm, clean, still smiling. He looked at Varn's team. Are you the others? He asked softly. Cray raised his gun. Daniel tilted his head. I was hoping you'd all come. Then he looked up at the stars. I've been waiting. And for the first time in his life, Varn felt cold, not from space, from him. This human. Daniel. Reeve, the man with no past, the prey who smiled. Night fell over the woods. Cold wind blew through the trees. The sky above Earth was quiet, but deep between the trees, death was coming. 6 blood hunters remained. One was already gone, Jorek. No one knew how, no body, no noise, no sign. Just a blank screen. Varn stood with his team in a circle. This is not normal, he said. We've hunted warlords, beasts, assassins. None of them made a hunter disappear, without a sound. Cray checked his tracker again. He's close, 200 meters, moving slowly. Toward us? Varn asked. Cray frowned. No, not anymore. He's circling. The hunters moved fast. They spread out, standard formation. Silent, invisible, deadly. Each had their weapons ready. Guns, blades, electric nets, shock grenades. But still, the trees felt wrong. Too quiet, too still, like something was watching. Tarn, the sniper, took a position on a high branch. He scanned the area with his scope. He whispered in comms, "Nothing on thermal, nothing on bio, nothing on crack." Sound behind him, he turned and saw nothing, but his scope showed something strange. His own heat signature was gone. "Varn," Tarn said, voice shaking. Silence. He tried again. No response. He felt a hand touch his back, cold, slow, careful. He turned to shoot, but there was no one, only darkness, and then... Back at base position, Varn stared at the tracker. Tarn's signal gone. "No, not again," he muttered. This wasn't a hunt anymore. This was a trap. The others began to panic. "What is he?" one asked. "He's just a human." Another shouted. "No," Varn said. "Humans bleed. Humans hide. Humans run." He looked toward the forest. "This one is different." They sent drones. Smart, fast, armed with scanners. All 6 flew into the woods. 30 seconds later, all 6 returned, burned, twisted, melted. No shots fired, no sound, just destroyed. Then came the message, a signal, weak, broken, from Tarn's comm unit. Only 3 words, "He's not alone." Silence followed. The hunters now stood back to back. Guns raised, scanning everything, but there was no enemy, no sound, just trees, wind and laughter, soft, human from all sides. "He's playing with us," Cray whispered. "No," Varn said slowly. "He's hunting us." Then something landed in the middle of them, a helmet. Jorek's inside was a note, written in clean handwriting. "Round 2 begins now." And underneath, one more line. "Still smiling." Varn's hands tightened around his gun. This was supposed to be a simple mission, a test, a trophy, but now they were the prey and Daniel Reeve, he was just getting started. The forest was no longer just dark. It felt alive. Branches didn't move with the wind. They moved when the hunters breathed. The 5 remaining blood hunters stood still, scanners active, guns ready, eyes wide. They were trained to fight beasts, 10 times their size, but now they feared a man. "Split up," Varn ordered. "Circle wide, we trap him." The team hesitated. "Sir, 2 gone already. Now." They obeyed. 4 hunters vanished into the woods one by one. Varn stayed in the center, waiting, watching. Cray moved fast. He planted sensors every 50 meters. Each beeped as it powered on. 5, 6, 7. Then, the 8th didn't beep. He looked down. It was gone. Just gone. He hadn't even blinked. Suddenly, the 7th sensor beeped again, now offline. He spun around, gun raised. Nothing. Trees, leaves, silence. And that feeling again, that someone was behind him. On the other side, Lina, the trap expert, crouched low near the river. She placed a heat snare. It detected movement, locked on, then shocked anything alive. As she set the charge, she saw footprints, human ones, fresh, right next to hers. But she'd been alone the whole time, hadn't she? She turned on her wrist cam and spoke softly. "Team, I found signs, he's here, static." Then a voice replied, but not from her earpiece, from behind her. "You're right." Varn saw Lina's signal drop, then Cray's. Now only 2 hunters were left, and him. But the scariest part? Still no gunfire. Still no blood. Just silence. Daniel wasn't fighting them. He was erasing them. Varn activated full burn mode. He tapped. His chest. Flames burst from his armor. The air around him shimmered with heat. "Come out!" he roared. "I know you're here," a voice answered. From the trees. Calm. Quiet. Close. "I've always been here." Suddenly branches snapped overhead. A figure dropped from the trees behind him, too fast. Varn turned and fired. Nothing. Just empty air. Then from the smoke he saw something strange. a wooden mask, hand-carved, human-shaped. It hung on a low branch, staring at him, written across the mask. Smile. Varn felt something he hadn't in 200 years. Fear elsewhere. The last two hunters ran through the forest. They broke formation, they broke rules. Panic took control, but the trees moved with them, always in the corner of their vision, shadows with arms, leaves that breathed. And then ahead of them a figure stood, still, in a simple black coat, smiling. Daniel Reeve. One raised her gun, the other froze. Then Daniel did something they didn't expect. He dropped his weapon, he raised his hands, and said, "You're free to leave." They looked at each other, confused. Was this a trick? One lowered her weapon slightly. That was her last mistake. The lights above them, drones from their ship, flickered, then fell, burning. Daniel vanished, and the hunters, gone. Varn watched their signals blink out. Now, only he remained, alone. He looked up at Earth's night sky and whispered, "What are you?" No answer came, only the sound of leaves and the slow return of footsteps. Only one hunter was left now. Varn. He stood alone in the dark forest. All signals were gone. All his team, gone. No sounds, no bodies, just the feeling that he was not alone. Not hunted, studied. His armor hummed quietly. The flames had burned out. He tapped his comms. "Command, this is Varn. Mission failed. Target is hostile, unknown abilities. I request emergency extraction." Static. Then a soft voice came through, but it wasn't command. "Why are you running, Varn?" It was him, Daniel Reeve. Varn turned slowly. "Show yourself," he growled. Silence. Then, from behind a tree, Daniel stepped out, still wearing a simple black coat, still smiling, hands in his pockets. Calm. Quiet. "I expected better," Daniel said. Varn aimed his weapon. "You're not human." Daniel tilted his head. "Define human." Varn's hand shook slightly. His whole team, the best hunters in the galaxy, had been destroyed by this. No armor, no tech, no backup. Just a man with a smile. "Who are you?" Varn demanded. Daniel stepped closer. "Once I was a soldier, then I was something else. Now I'm just me." "But how did you—" Daniel held up a hand. "No tricks, no magic, I just prepared." Varn laughed bitterly. "Prepared? You erased my team like shadows." Daniel nodded. "I watched you for years, studied your kind, your patterns, your fear." He took another step. "I didn't hide. I waited." Varn's eyes narrowed. "This was all planned." Daniel shrugged. "Part of it." "Why us?" Daniel's smile faded. Now his eyes looked sharp. Cold. "You came to hunt us." "For fun. For sport." He pointed at the forest. "You thought humans were weak, easy prey." Varn didn't answer, because it was true. Daniel walked past a burned drone and gently picked up a bloodhunter knife. He looked at it. "Do you know what fear is, Varn?" "I've seen it in others," Varn said quietly. Daniel's voice turned colder. "I felt it when I watched your kind destroy planets, laugh at screams, treat life like a game." He looked up. "And then I trained. I learned. I became your shadow." Varn felt something strange in his chest, not anger, not hate, regret. He had hunted for centuries, killed kings, broke worlds, but this time he had chosen wrong. Daniel dropped the knife at Varn's feet. "I could kill you now." Varn said nothing. "But I want you to leave. Go back. Tell your kind." Daniel turned and began to walk away. "Tell them Earth is not a hunting ground." Varn stared. "Why let me live?" Daniel didn't stop walking. "Because I want them to wonder, what made you run?" And just like that, he was gone, swallowed by the trees. No sound, no trace, just the cold air and a story that would shake the galaxy. Varn's ship rose through Earth's sky. Its engines roared, but his heart was quiet. He didn't feel like a hunter anymore. He felt like something hunted. As he left the planet, he looked back one last time, a blue world. Peaceful, quiet. But behind that quiet, something waited. Something deadly. Hours later, he reached the orbiting command ship, the Spire Fang. Guards rushed to greet him. "Sir, where is your squad?" Vaughn didn't speak. He walked past them, armor scorched, eyes tired, straight to the command chamber. The High Lords of the Blood Hunters appeared on the screen. 7 leaders, all cold, all killers. "You return alone," one hissed. "Did the mission fail?" Vaughn stood tall. No, it was worse than failure. He tossed something onto the floor. A Blood Hunter helmet, cracked, burned. They stared. "Explain." Vaughn took a breath. The target was human. Name: Daniel Reeve. Status: alive. Gasps filled the chamber. "No one survives a blood hunt," one shouted. Vaughn's voice was calm now. This one did. He played the drone footage, what little was left. Dark shapes, glitches, a voice whispering, "Smile." The Lords watched in silence, then one leaned forward. "Why didn't you kill him?" Vaughn looked up. "Because I was allowed to leave." More silence. "He let you go?" another asked. Vaughn nodded, "and told me to bring a message." He looked into the camera. "Earth is not prey. If we hunt them again, we may not survive." At first they laughed. One slammed a clawed fist on the table. "He's just one man." Vaughn didn't flinch. "Then send another squad. Send 10. See what happens." They stopped laughing. News spread fast. Across hunter clans, across warlords, across black markets and mercenary guilds. The message: a human defeated the blood hunters. The last one returned shaken. "Earth is dangerous." Some didn't believe it. Others wanted to test it. But most, they feared it. And they feared one name: Daniel Reeve. Back on Earth, Daniel sat on a quiet hill. A small fire burned beside him. He looked at the stars. His face calm, his smile still there. Behind him others stepped from the trees, men, women, soldiers, all silent, all watching the sky. One asked, "Think they'll come back?" Daniel stood. "They might." He turned. "We'll be ready." 3 weeks passed. Space was quiet. No attacks, no signals, just silence. But Daniel Reeve knew better. He felt it. A storm was coming. Far above Earth, hidden behind Mars, a new fleet waited. They were not blood hunters. They were worse. The Zerajin Brotherhood, galactic mercenaries who killed planets for credits. They had heard the story. A human had defeated the blood hunters. Impossible. One of them laughed. "Let's find out what makes this Daniel Reeve so special. 20 ships, over 100 elite killers. They didn't come to hunt. They came to destroy. Their goal: erase Earth, burn everything, fast, loud, brutal." On Earth, Daniel stood in a cabin deep in the mountains. He looked at the old radio. A crackling signal came through. Unidentified fleet entering Earth's orbit. He closed his eyes. "They're here." Behind him a dozen people waited. Some were soldiers, others were farmers. Old, young, men, women. Daniel turned to them. "It's time." They followed him into the forest, past trees, past hidden gates, into an underground bunker. Inside, technology not from Earth, alien weapons, armor, maps, data screens, all collected from past fights. Daniel looked at them. "Today we defend." Above, the Zerajin ships launched drop pods. Metal balls fell from the sky. Boom, 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 crashing into forests and fields. Out came killers in black armor, laser rifles, plasma blades. They spread fast. They expected fear. They got fire. The first squad entered a village. It was quiet, too quiet. Then, click, trip mines exploded around them. Trees fell, guns fired from nowhere. One by one they dropped. Another squad found a bunker. They blasted the door open, but no one was inside, just screens. Then the doors shut behind them. Gas filled the room. Offline. One by one, squads went silent. The leader of the Zerajin, Captain Droth, growled, "Where is the human?" Just then a message came on every screen in his ship. A calm voice, Daniel Reeve's voice. "You were warned. You came anyway. Now you stay." The ship's lights blinked. Control systems failed, engines powered down. From the planet something launched, an old Earth missile but upgraded with alien tech, straight into their main ship. Boom! In 1 hour the battle was over. Zeragin soldiers scattered, hunted, captured. Some begged, some ran. Few survived. Daniel stood on a hill watching the smoke rise in the sky. A child beside him asked, "Will more come?" Daniel nodded. "Yes," he smiled. "But we'll always be ready." Far across the galaxy, in a system older than Earth itself, the Galactic Council gathered. 12 species, 12 leaders, each one powerful, each one afraid. A hologram of Earth floated in the center of the chamber. Next to it, Daniel Reeves' face. Calm, cold, smiling. The voice of the Ezok ambassador, a thin blue creature, broke the silence. "He defeated the Blood Hunters," another added, "and wiped out the Zeragin fleet in hours." A third asked, "What is he?" No one had answers, so they called for one. Archivist Rel, keeper of ancient threats. She stepped forward, robes dragging on the floor. She stared at Daniel's image. "He is human," she said, "but not normal." She pulled up files, old war reports, old secret missions. Many blacked out. Daniel Reeve was trained under Project Ghost, a human program too dangerous to finish. He went off-grid, vanished, until now. The council leaned forward. "What? Is Earth hiding?" Rel looked at them. "Earth is not hiding anything. They're just learning fast," she paused, "and fighting back." One counselor stood, a large creature with golden armor. "This is a threat to galactic order." Another hissed, "If one human can do this, what if there are more?" A whisper spread through the room. "What if Earth is not alone?" the council debated. Some wanted to invade, some wanted peace. One leader slammed a hand on the table. "No more shadows." "Sends the Prime Armada." Back on Earth, Daniel stood in front of a table. On it, maps, signals, messages. Behind him, more people had gathered. Not soldiers this time, scientists, engineers, pilots, civilians, all trained by Daniel and his team. He looked at them. "They're watching now. They know we're not weak, but they still don't respect us." He pointed at the sky. "They'll come with armies. They'll come to silence us." A woman asked, "Can we win?" Daniel smiled. "We already did. Because now they fear us." Above Earth, hidden satellites picked up movement. Ships, hundreds, heading. Their way, not mercenaries, not hunters, an empire. And Daniel whispered, "Let them come." The skies above Earth were no longer quiet. They were filled with ships, hundreds. The Galactic Prime Armada had arrived, the largest fleet ever seen, built to destroy planets. They weren't here to fight one man. They came to crush a world. But Daniel. Reeve was ready. He stood inside the mountain base watching screens flash. Red lights, incoming alerts, enemy positions. His team stood beside him, ordinary people once, now trained defenders. Daniel spoke calmly. "They think this is the end." He turned. "They don't know. This is the beginning." The first wave hit Earth's orbit. Alien bombers descended, but Earth's hidden satellites activated. Lasers fired from unexpected places, under oceans, in jungles, deep in ice. 2 enemy ships exploded before they even entered the atmosphere. On the ground, villages became traps. Fields turned into fire zones. Old human tanks rolled out, but enhanced with alien tech. The defenders used guerrilla tactics, smart, fast, silent. The enemy had numbers. Earth had Daniel's mind. Inside the command ship, the Galactic Fleet commander barked orders. Push through, target their cities. But nothing worked. Every strategy failed. They couldn't locate Daniel. They couldn't predict his moves because Daniel didn't follow alien war rules. He rewrote them. Then the sky split. From Earth's surface, a new ship launched. Human-built, small, black, fast. Daniel Reeve was in it. He flew straight into the Armada, dodged lasers, dove between capital ships, reached the command vessel, broke through. Inside, alarms blared, guards ran. But Daniel moved like a shadow. He entered the control chamber. The Galactic commander turned and froze. Daniel stood there, weapon in hand, but he didn't fire. He simply said, "You came to silence us. Now the key. Galaxy will hear us louder than ever." He pressed a button. A broadcast began across all channels, every species, every world. They all saw him, Daniel Reeve, human, standing on the flagship of the strongest fleet, alive, calm, unbroken. We are not prey. We are not weak. We are human, and this is our home. The signal cut. The command ship exploded. The armada began to retreat, panicked, scattered. Earth had won. Later, in a quiet forest, Daniel stood alone. He looked at the stars, the same stars that once watched Earth in silence. Now they remembered. He whispered, "They came for war." They found a warning, and somewhere, across space, on distant worlds, children would grow up hearing one name, not a monster, not a myth. Man to human Daniel Reeve,